Hi, everyone. This is Christina Barr, and you're watching Black Tea News. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Black Tea News. I am your host, Christina Barr, and today we're going to be talking about just FYI, I do not plan to be before you long. That is what the preachers say. When they don't plan to be before you long. But some of you know that I did have a funeral that I went to this morning. A dear family friend passed away. Preacher, Pastor Charles Hawthorne, and he was the best man at my dad's wedding, and my dad was his best man. And he preached for us earlier this year and seemed fine, and he was overcome with an illness and with it was I believe it was cancer, and we did that have the home going for him today, and so if you could just keep his family in your prayers. But I had that today earlier, and tonight I do have an event I have to go to. So I was really kind of thinking about actually not doing a show, but I literally like could not resist talking about this Don Lemon video that I saw. I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw this, and I'm like, I have to talk about this. It's gonna bother me the whole rest of the day. So I don't plan to really be before you long today. It's gonna be a short show, hopefully only maybe even 30 minutes. That's what I'm aiming for, because I still have some things to do before I head out to my event tonight. But I felt like I had to talk about this. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning on. Please make sure that you visit blacktnews.com, check out different content that I have on the website, different articles that you guys can share. Please follow me on my different platforms on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. All my handles are at Black Tea News, except for on Twitter, it is at True Black Tea. Please check out different merchandise that I have on the store. I got stuff like the goat hoodie. I got in different colors if you're interested. Got the denounce white supremacy, defeat Joe Biden shirt, which, by the way, people are in an uproar because he called someone a wasn't a magic Negro. It was like something Negro. I don't know. I don't remember what it was. I didn't have time to find the clip, but people are laughing at it, not just because it happened, because Joe Biden has said worse things, but it's just like really kind of awkward. But people are annoyed because the fact checkers are really going to bat to protect Biden on something he obviously said. Like video clips of Joe Biden using Negro is missing context. It's like, if only you guys were interested in, I don't know, to the truth. maybe people wouldn't have believed so many terrible things about Trump, but but they will bend space, time, and reality to protect Joe Biden. It's pretty remarkable. But anyway, there's that shirt, and we got other stuff as well that you guys can check out on blacktnews.com. And also, if you would like to support Black Tea News, you can go to blacktnews.com/donate and leave a donation. I appreciate everything you guys do, sincerely. So let's jump into it. As I said, I can't be before you long. I do have a funny though. Friend of mine, G Prime 85, did this Colin Kaepernick comic book, and if you did not see, he did a Netflix special, which I haven't covered on this show because I wanted to do a big thing about how Colin Kaepernick is a clown, and anyone who ever supported him is a clown. Because it was obvious he's a clown, but it just keeps going further and further and further. He actually did a video and he was talking about the NFL and how they make you have instructions, and actually had a parallel of that and people going up for a slave auction. And it's like, I really think you guys who are millionaires, not based off of your intelligence, but just off of you being able to chase a pigskin and kick it and catch it and stuff, isn't really the same as people who were in involuntary servitude. So Colin Kaepernick comparing football to slavery, really not cool. That I think in a normal world, well, not necessarily in a normal world, it would get you canceled, but in a consistent world, I think if let's say a white Republican made such a ridiculous comparison, they would definitely try to cancel such a person. But Colin Kaepernick said it, so there's some people who mocked him a little bit, and then there's the people who let it slide, or people who believe what he said, because it's crazy, but who cares? So anyway, here's a comic book, and he's looking at instructions. He said, you know who else wants to force you to who else was forced to follow instructions? And he's just putting together something in IKEA. Having to follow instructions doesn't mean, hey, you are enslaved. So he is a fool. It's remarkable that this fool has had such a platform, but that is the world we live in. So before I jump into the Don Lemon clips, I I want to bring to your attention, or at least raise this concern. When people talk about the Kenosha possible Kenosha riots, and they're talking about Kyle Rittenhouse, and people concerned that people will outbreak in some kind of, I don't know, violent uproar if they don't get the verdict that they want. I question, like, well, first of all, it's getting colder, and all the riots were really going on in the summer when people were locked in, had nothing to do, and obviously at that point in time, the media was just like not ignoring the more violent things and even encouraging what was going on. I don't think people have the same taste for it that people had last year. But also, I'm like, and not to get too racial on you guys, but I'm like, why are all these people going to riot over these white guys getting shot? Because people clearly had an invested interest in every time a black person was shot, not when a white person was shot, when a black person was shot by police or whoever. That's what people were invested. I'm like, Kyle shot 3 white people. Everyone involved was white. So I'm like, why are they still trying to frame it in such a racial way? And I know Biden tried to tie Kyle Rittenhouse to some kind of militia group. He wasn't affiliated with them. He used a picture of Kyle Rittenhouse in one of his campaign videos and had him like listed as a white supremacist. So I really, really hope to God that he will be found innocent and can sue the living daylights out a lot of people. That is my hope. But it just seemed weird to me. Besides all that, I'm like, they're really going to go out and just destroy stuff because of this? It just seems like inconsistent with all the other times they were rioting stuff. So Candace Owens tweeted this out. The majority of Democrats are so painfully brainwashed by their media that they do not even know that Kyle Rittenhouse shot 2 white men. They actually think black men were killed. This case literally has nothing to do with black people. And she says she's literally getting messages from black people telling her that defending Kyle Rittenhouse makes her a traitor to her race. She just cannot comprehend the level of stupidity. I don't know why she can't comprehend it, because she's dealing with these people for a while. So some people are trying to correct it and say, hey, they mean that because those people were fighting on behalf of black people. That's why they're out there. No, that's not why they're out there. One was just like a homeless, mentally ill child molester, as Tucker Carlson said. Actually, I have that clip. I'm just gonna play it.
A rapist called Joseph Rosenbaum was released from a mental hospital and then went directly to join the mob that was burning downtown Kenosha. Once he got to the riot, Rosenbaum saw Kyle Rittenhouse and immediately threatened to kill him. Rosenbaum then chased Rittenhouse and tried to pull the gun from his hands. When he did that, Kyle Rittenhouse shot him. So Joseph Rosenbaum died as he had lived, trying to touch an unwilling minor.
Yeah, so that is that's the case with some of those folks. So people are saying that they were standing for racial justice. That wasn't the case. And so I do legitimately believe that there's people who think that these people Kyle Rittenhouse shot were black. And I've seen that. I've seen that on Twitter. If you search for it, you can search like Kyle Rittenhouse, 2 black men or black men, and you'll find other people saying, oh, he's terrible. Went out there to hunt black people. He killed these black people. And that's not the case. And do random Twitter people make, the whole case for the nation? No, but obviously there's a lot of people pushing misinformation, and the media is trying to gin up some kind of racial thing, like Kyle's some kind of white supremacist or something. So I saw one woman admit that everything she basically thought about this case was wrong, and it's making her look at the media and what she's fed, because she said, I'm in a fairly progressive bubble, and within my bubble, I thought these men were black who Kyle Rittenhouse shot. and so I've seen people admit to that on Twitter, on TikTok, and other apps and stuff. So I believe Candace Owens when she says this. But I believe it. But here's what's really strange though. On TikTok, no, I'm sorry, this is Twitter. Yesterday it was trending, or at least it was one of their main headlines, was this article from Business Insider, and it's still up. If you go to their their homepage with the news and stuff where they discover, it says overwhelmingly white jurors will decide both fates of Kyle Rittenhouse and Ahmaud Arbery. So here's a question. And they say the system is broken, it's imperfect. Why put those two together? And why should people care that the jury is mostly white, as if it seems like people think that there's black people involved in this case. I'm like, that is a jury of his peers. Everyone involved is white. What do you mean? What do you mean? It's a majority white. It's a majority white. Jurors are going to decide the fate of this white kid who shot three white people. So why are they so invested in this? Why are they so invested in it? And there's some more commentary that's come out, particularly when talking about Don Lemon's crazy nutty butt. I had to show this video because I would not have been able to kind of go the rest of my day thinking about the fact that I wanted to show you guys this video. So here we are. Here's Don Lemon talking about the case with Breonna Keller, and you guys know how much I like Breonna Keller, which I don't. But I'm sure you could tell that was sarcasm. So they're talking about this case.
This theme of white wannabe vigilantism that I think encapsulates both of these trials. And I wonder what you think about, look, laws aside, how is the defense doing aside? What do you think about just this?
Okay, she said, beside like the facts of the case, like what do you think about this idea? And listen to this idea that she's criticizing.
Idea that this is something people do, that in some places this is still okay.
Well, it's the same idea as I was saying about the judge. This is okay because people are used to it. This is the ultimate entitlement.
The ultimate entitlement of what? People being able to carry guns around, because we do have a Second Amendment, guys. That's still a thing. See, people don't realize that they're arguing like practically against the Second Amendment. When people like, he shouldn't have had the gun. He didn't. First of all, he didn't illegally take it from Illinois, where he's from, which he's right on the border. He has family that lives in Kenosha. He worked in Kenosha. He went to a school to clean up graffiti that same day. So it doesn't even matter. His defense is self-defense, and he has a clear-cut case of that. But people trying to make it seem like it's the mere fact that you possess a weapon, that you are somehow a threat. Well, first of all, you want that to be a deterrent, I suppose, but just because you have a gun doesn't mean intent. And you know what I find interesting? It seems like they don't care about the intent of whether you're armed or not. You're just a danger if the fact that you have one. And so remember this graph I showed you guys about whiteness culture? And so this is like critical race theory, sort of like whiteness accepting sort of groupthink, where they have these traits of white people And you can still have these traits, but they're traits of whiteness, and just you being like, if I believe in, like, I don't know, rugged individualism, that's something that's instilled with me from the whiteness culture of the United States. It can't, which is really weird, because obviously other cultures have rugged individualism outside of United States, and other, and family structures, and believe in linear objective thinking and so on. So like, this is the most like racist document I've ever seen. Probably, I don't know. I will not ever, but it's pretty bad, especially in this modern world. And it's crazy that the African American History Museum is the one who put this out. But when you get to like the law section of it, where they think that this is a whiteness system, that where it says a little section on justice, it says, based on English common law, protect property and entitlements, and intent counts. So this is all an idea of whiteness, injustice that they're saying. And this is now they got really panned for this. They got extraordinarily panned for putting this out there, and they actually took this down, but they still had their lead website saying this about, you know, a whiteness in America. I don't know if the page is still up, but the internet is forever, so I always point to this. So justice in the world of whiteness is having that believing your intent counts. When you do something or don't do something, your intent matters. If you believe intent matters, then that is a sign of whiteness culture in America. And if you believe that you can protect your property and entitlements, that is an idea of whiteness. Now, knowing this and seeing this does not all seem like all this critical race theory, this push for whiteness, is just rooted in communist sort of Marxist thinking. And the reason why it seems like that is because it is. If you look at critical race theory, it does have a direct tie to Marxism. It's tied from critical theory, and critical theory is rooted in Marxism. I keep saying you can literally figure that out within like 5 minutes of Googling. Very easy to find out. So they're saying this whole idea of having guns and having it around, not whether he shot the people who were chasing him, who were intending to harm him. He has a clear-cut case of crystal clear self-defense, always had evidence for it, but that's not enough. The fact that he was armed, and what you can say, why would he go there? But what if you were going to go there? Why wouldn't you be armed? Not because you intend to hurt someone, but you want your right to self-preservation. So you just being prepared to protect yourself at this point, people are arguing, is an issue. So they're saying, oh, this idea, it gets worse. It gets worse. I got to keep playing this for you guys.
That again, you can insert yourself into a situation with a gun that you're not supposed to be carrying, kill 2 people, injure, and you are made to be a hero by the public. You see someone jogging down the street, and you take it into your hands. You think it's your responsibility to stop that person when you're not even sure if they are committing a crime, because what? It is your street. It is your town. It is your country. It is the ultimate degree of entitlement. Would people...
See, again, they're saying this is a degree of entitlement, believing in protecting your street, your home, your property. He's saying it's an sense of entitlement. Again, this idea of whiteness in America, that you can protect your property and entitlements. That is they think that's bad. They think that's a whiteness structure. This is pretty insane. This is insane. It gets worse.
Believe that this is how they're supposed to be. What the right is saying about Kyle Rittenhouse is that, well, the government didn't do its job, so it took a 17-year-old kid to come in and do what was right. That's vigilantism.
But that's correct, though. The government didn't do its job. And it seemed like nobody wanted to let the government do its job either. Remember when Tom Cotton tried to write, well, he didn't try to, he wrote an editorial about, I don't remember if it was in the Washington Post or Wall Street Journal or something, but he did an op-ed talking about how Trump should use the Insurrection Act or something so they can activate the military to protect people. And man, they just went ham on it. They were People were panicking about it. But when Trump would bring people to get people who were attacking what he could protect on federal property, they were like, they're kidnapping these people. Like they're, and then we had this whole defund the police movement going on. And now they're trying to pretend like it didn't exist. But I have a memory. We have video. We know what they were pushing. So not only were police officers in some regards, in a lot of regards, their hands being tied or them being overwhelmed, people made it very clear that they did not want the police to interfere with a lot of these things. They didn't want these people to see justice. And if they were arrested, you had people like Kamala Harris and Steve Carell and Harry Styles or whoever retweeting, hey, donate money to the Minnesota Freedom Fund, who just doesn't believe in cash bail, by the way. So they will bail out anyone. Doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you did. Doesn't matter what you're accused of. They're going to bail you out. They're going to bail you out. So as a matter of fact, someone they did bail out murdered someone. So everyone who shared that around gave them a ton of money that they're not used to having. Congrats, you just helped sow more chaos into the world. Extraordinarily amount of chaos. So this whole case is amazing. Their commentary around it is amazing. And they're saying it's bad for you to protect your property, protect your street. And I don't think Kyle should have had to have been there. But do you expect everyone should have just stayed in their homes, let people overrun their communities and set up zones like they did in like Seattle or Portland and make those zones where there's like a warlord taking over? Like, were we just supposed to do that all over America? You're condemning everyone who's like, I want to protect my neighborhood. I want to protect my street. When I think when the George Floyd riots first broke out, I think because that was that in Minnesota? I remember there was someone who actually defended their property, and they actually got charged because I think there was a law that you can't protect your business unless it's like connected to your house. And I'm like, what? We can't protect our own prop. What kind of law is that? If I had to run for office or something, I would raise a stink about that. I'm like, I'm going to repeal it. This is crazy. Someone can't protect their shop, their livelihood. It's not just stuff. It's people's livelihoods. You burn down a building on a street that brings a whole entire property value down, that hurts an entire community. It's not just things. It's time, man. Someone stole my laptop out of my car once and I was devastated just because of all the things that were on it. Stuff I can't get back. Stuff I had to rebuild, but there's stuff on there I couldn't get back. Stuff that wasn't backed up at the time. So I can't imagine losing an entire business because someone wanted to burn it to the ground just because of feelings instilled in things that aren't even true. These people who march for the Black Lives Matter stuff because of police shootings. I don't have the graph here, but there was a study that was done in the more liberal you are, the less. Oh gosh, no, I have it. You see this graph here? This is a look at how many unarmed Black men were killed in 2019. And you can see that the answer was maybe it was about like 14 or something was the number. So you can see that the more liberal you are, you tend to be wrong about this issue. There's people who believed at all, even in the very conservative column, that the number is more than 10,000. 10,000. And the number, see, the more conservative you are, the more right you are on the issue. The more liberal you are, the more skewed your perception is about this issue. So people marching and rioting for a narrative that doesn't even exist. Let's keep watching.
That's not what people are not supposed to be vigilantes. We're not supposed to be taking justice into our own hands. Imagine if every single person in America did that. Imagine if you call for black men or just black.
Imagine if every American did that. Well, I guess we had our American Revolution, but let's keep talking.
Folks to be armed and go out on the streets and, do what they think. Justice, take it back. Remember, and what they did to you and slavery, whatever. Go and take things and do. Imagine if people were condoning that.
People were condoning it, and you were part of it, Don Lemon. You were part of people hitting the streets for racial justice, and you guys ignored the violence that were happening, the people who died in those riots, the property that was destroyed, and even some of the people who were caught and put in trial and stuff. You have these progressive judges that they put out on display who were like, man, we're going to see if they can just, I don't know, see if they can make you happy and not have to serve any time. So there's people who just got away with what the evil things that they did last year. And people are like, oh, you have insurance. Insurance doesn't cover all that stuff. And again, there's time you can't get back. Some things are irreplaceable. And then it brings down property value as well. It hurts whole communities. Why would a business go back to a place where they know the police aren't going to protect it if people go crazy? Why would people do that? Why would a business do that? Why would they rebuild in a neighborhood that people are willing to burn to the ground and the police are just going to twiddle their thumbs and let it happen? That is crazy, Don Lemon. And these people at CNN pushed it. And one day, I don't know, they looked at some kind of internal polling or something, and Don Lemon was like, this is a problem for the Democrats. They've ignored it. They didn't just ignore it. They egged it on. People like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they egged on the riots. And people like Don Lemon. But one day he's like, well, there's polling. I'm like, oh, I wonder what kind of polling they got, what kind of polling they saw. He's like, this is a problem. And now they know that people are reaping the harvest of these bad defund policies, so much to the point where Democrats are pretending like they weren't even a part of it. Like Joe Biden wasn't a part of it. Like he wasn't literally on a video saying that he was willing to defund the police. He was on a Now This video, totally said it. And now they want to pretend even that Republicans were the ones pushing that narrative. Because what? They didn't support the COVID bill? Literally that happened. Jen Psaki and their web of lies.
Or just doing that. Will there be a different perception in this country about who should and who shouldn't carry guns? Would our gun laws be different? I certainly think so. So there is a double standard, but it is the
Oh, by the way, people will tell you that gun laws are actually rooted in racism, but that's another topic for another day.
Ultimate degree of entitlement. This is what I'm supposed to do because this belongs to me.
It's why is it a sense of entitlement to say this belongs to me? I should be able to protect it. Again, for those of you popping in, this is the infographic, part of the infographic that the African American History Museum put out some time ago. They were called out on it and people were outraged, so they took it down, but I still have it because internet is forever. And these are traits of whiteness. And one of the traits of whiteness, you're talking about justice, is that you believe intent counts. We already talked about they don't care that Kyle didn't actually go there to kill people. He went there to help people, have the medic pack. He even gave away, Kyle even gave away his bulletproof vest because he's like, I'm gonna be out there helping people. Here, you take this. Like, he didn't have the intention to kill those people that night, but he just, if something goes down, he would protect himself, and that's what happened, and that's what the video shows. But it doesn't matter. You carried a gun, you play Call of Duty according to the prosecutors. Therefore, you're a bad person. But Don Lemon is talking about property that you're just entitled, and that is, I don't know, if you're just a spoiled child, if you think that because it belongs to you, that you're supposed to protect it. We can protect our property. We have a right to our property. This is crazy.
Meaning this street, this town, and this country. And I think it's tough for people to hear that, but it is the absolute.
He said the street, this town, and this country. He said the street, this town, and this country. He said the street, this town, and this country. We're not entitled to protect our streets, our towns, and our country? Our country, Don Lemon? If we need to protect our country, we can't protect our country? That's a sense of entitlement?
truth. I don't walk down the street saying, I pay taxes here and therefore no. If I see someone breaking the law, I call the cops.
Because one, Don Lemon, you're a punk. You're an elitist punk. You live in a nice community. I don't know how many things just sort of happened to Don Lemon in his neighborhood. For some people, calling the police and expecting them to be there in a timely manner, that's an entitlement. That's a privilege. It's the Supreme Court actually ruled that the police don't actually have to come and get you, In some rural parts of the country, their gun, that's what they have to protect themselves, whether it's from poachers or people who come and prowl their stuff or just people who may be roaming about and try to hurt them, or a stray animal. I don't know, but they have their gun. They can't always get the police there in a timely manner. There are some communities that basically have been abandoned by the police because, well, the people have shown they don't want them there. And it's really dangerous. So they'd much rather patrol a neighborhood like Don Lemon's than go out to some of these terrible places in the hood. And then when police do their jobs, y'all get mad and want to defund them. And people found out that that's a bad idea. But congratulations, Don Lemon, that you can call the police when there's trouble. Not everybody has that luxury of knowing that they'll be there in a timely manner. My sister was arguing with somebody about defund the police, and she said, I want as many police to be there that if I call, they will be there within 5 minutes. But you know what? 5 minutes is still too long for some situations. It's still too long for some situations. So, and it would also depend on what people are, what are they stealing from you? My gosh, I already talked about how my laptop got stolen. I probably would have fought to save that, man. I can't say that I'm one of some people are like property is more important than your life's more important. I'm like, that's true. But I can't say I'd be one of those people who's not willing to protect my property. I can't say that. I hate thievery. It feels like such a violation. It hurts so bad when someone stole something for me that had accumulated for all the stuff that accumulated for such a long point of time. I have original like files of stuff that I did that are just gone. And that was like my baby. It's my baby and someone took it. And that's just a laptop. You're talking about people's neighborhoods? People's neighborhoods? He said country. Don Lemon doesn't think you're an entitled person if you're like, I got to protect my country. Just call the police. What we saw that the police didn't do their jobs in a lot of cases.
That's what they're there for. It's supposed to be about law and order. This isn't about law and order. This is about unlawful conduct and disorder.
Brianna had an amazing conversation with the Reverend William Barber in the last hour about
that. No one cares what else was going on. So that was Don Lemon. That was Don Lemon and his rant about it's an entitlement. If you want to protect your property, if you want to protect your country, if you want to protect your street, just call the police. Which it seems like everything about Kyle surrounding him is just surrounded with a narrative. People don't care about the facts of the case. Like I said yesterday, I was arguing with someone who's like, his mother dropped him off at a riot. Literally did not happen. First this person mocked Kyle for his breakdown on the stand and claimed he was faking, claimed black people were like, it was a meme like black people like, I'm like, don't include black people. If you like ignorant, like sort of tasteless jokes, which they do like spicy jokes. I'm like, you can just leave black people out of it. And he said, well, majority black people, which obviously he didn't take a poll for the meme. But then we start going back and forth about the details of the case. And he clearly didn't know the details of the case. Clearly didn't know the details of the case. I can't say I know all the details of the case, but I know enough. I know a lot. I know a lot more than your average bear. So people are upset about this narrative, like Kyle crossed state lines. He lives on the border. His dad lives in Kenosha. He worked in Kenosha. he transported a gun illegally. He didn't transport the gun. It never crossed state lines. That is false. Most things people believe about this case are false. And I started earlier, very, very beginning of this, I opened up talking about how people believe that he shot Black people. They don't even know the faces of the people that he killed. And all in self-defense, mind you. People are people literally about to riot because he shot a serial child rapist? For real? In self-defense? After he tried to take his AR-15? That's crazy. That's crazy. But would people be willing to do that if they knew the truth? So why is the media obsessed with this? I don't know why they've married themselves to the deconstruction of America, but from how the trial is evolving and from the commentary on it, it's just another, it's like Kyle isn't on trial. It's like America's on trial. The Second Amendment is on trial. Your right to self-defense is definitely on trial. This would be a terrible precedent for people. I mean, if he doesn't get off in self-defense, there is no self-defense. They have it from all these different angles, all these videos that we've known from the beginning, basically, that's come to light in court. One of the people even admitted on the stand that Kyle didn't shoot him until he aimed his own gun at him. And that man wasn't supposed to have a gun, or at least be carrying it. So everything involved is a narrative, and it's like they have to protect the narrative to no end. But now they're also attacking this idea of protecting your own stuff. Like they really want people to just sit down in their houses, let the world burn around them while these anarchists just take over. The idea that you think that you have the right to protect yourself. Well, you do have the right to, because we have rights. We have rights, Don Lemon. And just because you live in getting paid to do your crappy news show when you spread propaganda that no one is watching, besides people who clip your stuff so we can mock it on the internet, just because you're privileged and entitled and you know that the police will answer your beck and call, that you can spread misinformation and get people in a frenzy, and they'll attack other neighborhoods. They won't come to yours. One of the most telling tweets out of like the BLM riots was someone was like, tweeted like, yeah, go ahead, do it. And then when they got closer to their street, they're like, oh no, y'all getting too close. Y'all need to stop. So it's okay for them to burn low income communities. But when they come to yours, that's when they got to knock it off. I see how it is. These champagne socialists who are willing to sacrifice everyone else for their brownie points. Not even things that they probably actually genuinely believe. They just think it sounds cool. They just think it sounds cool. Because Don Lemon thinks it's important to protect your country, or he's fighting for the integrity of the country when he's going after the January 6th riots and stuff. They're like so offended for the country, so offended for the democracy. But people, you say people are entitled if they have to protect their street, their property, or their country. Okay. I want to play a little bit of this video because he was like, because Don Lemon said, oh, what if Black people or whatever got armed and started marching and stuff for their justice? Flashback.
Oh, CNN Tonight and D. Lemon right now.
Listen, I don't mind that you're late because that was a very important interview. And listen, I'm glad you mentioned about being shot by cops because you cannot compare this, and I'm sick of people comparing. You can't compare what happened this summer to what happened at the Capitol. It's two different things. One was built on people, on racial justice, on criminal justice, right? On reform, on police not beating up or not or police treating people of color differently than they do whites. Okay, that is not a lie. Those are facts. Go look at them. What happened at the Capitol on Wednesday was built on a lie perpetrated by the president and the people who.
Okay, so he goes on about January 6th, but you heard him say that the BLM riots, which they were riots. And not everybody went out and rioted. I know people who had actual peaceful protests. But the narrative was still a lie. He's like, it's facts, it's true. I know a lot of people said that they were marching for, and some people legitimately were. But a lot of people went out there to cause trouble. I already showed this today, but again, the number, I think it was 14 in 2019. I'm not, but it's less than 20, the number, and it's more than 10. That I know. So in this graph, you can see that the more liberal you are, the more wrong you are about this issue. The more wrong you are about this issue. It was, I guess if you're the liberal, was quite wrong. Well, I guess very liberal is probably the most, because they're up there with, they believed the number is about 1,000. That number is like 31% of them believed that the number was about 1,000 people killed, unarmed Black men killed by police, and the number was like less than 20. So if people have this perception, and some of these people even thought the number was more than 10,000, if there's people out there who believe that the police are hunting down Black men, and that was like the terminology some people was using, hunting down Black men, that they're killing 10,000 in a year of Black men who are unarmed. Yeah, maybe people will be crazy and joining the riots and doing whatever, but obviously this stuff isn't true. This isn't true. So people's perception is extraordinarily wrong about these things, and they're extraordinarily wrong when people marched for these things, and they're extraordinarily wrong when they have BLM in their hashtags and they share around all this kind of stuff. But why are people's perceptions so wrong? Because the media is irresponsible. People like Don Lemon. And why? I don't know why the media, because I don't believe everyone is probably a communist. I don't know why they've married this idea, this crazy, why they're so devoted to it. I don't have the answer, but I do know them, like when they say critical race theory is not a thing, it's not in schools, and they try to, it's just teaching honest history. It's not about, no, it's rooted in Marxism. It absolutely is. They purposely want to cause racial division, and then they want to develop this idea of a whiteness identity. When Pew Research, I don't have that pulled up, but I have showed it on the show before. I think the number is probably like 15% of white people see being white as like part of their racial identity. Black people super high, then it's like Hispanics, and then Asians, and white people are at the bottom. They do not have a collective white identity, but they keep trying to say that this idea of whiteness is harmful, and people need to realize it, and they need to, apologize for things that they didn't apologize for. And so people put out ideas like this, that, whiteness in America, white culture, and they list these different traits that white people have. And so they keep saying you need to analyze your whiteness. Whiteness is bad. So why, if whiteness is bad, and you're creating a stigma about whiteness, and you say that, objective, rational, linear thinking is whiteness, why should, it sounds like from this list of things, it sounds like whiteness is pretty good. It sounds like whiteness is pretty darn good. So why do you want us to have a negative connotation with whiteness, and then in turn have a negative connotation with this? Especially I brought this up today because they're talking about protecting your property and entitlements. So when you get to this kind of stuff, and all the stuff is weird, and I've talked about this at length at different times, but when you get to protecting your property and entitlements, that is an idea of whiteness, you can kind of start to see the dots connecting on why all this stuff is absolutely awful for this country. So don't let the media gaslight you into thinking all this stuff is irrelevant or in your head, because they're the ones who are pushing this ideology. And Don Lemon getting off and just talking the way that he did, he's obviously part of the problem. He's obviously part of the problem. And I talked way longer than I meant to, guys. I know usually I'll go an hour a little bit over, but I meant to only talk 30 minutes. I gotta get going. Please make sure that you visit blacktnews.com, check out different content that I have. And if you enjoyed this episode or other episodes or just what I do, please consider going to blacktnews.com/donate and leaving a gift. Whatever you can do, I very much appreciate it. Check out different merchandise that we have at the store. There's cool stuff that you can get for yourself or other people. Christmas is coming up, so make sure you get your Black Tea merch as soon as possible, so you can make sure that you get it, because supply chain issues and stuff. Actually, I haven't heard anything from the suppliers having those sort of issues, but a little bit issues here and there, but it's just hitting everybody. So make sure that you get your stuff. Make sure you get your stuff. But if you want to support, please go to blacktnews.com. Make sure that you're sharing different articles. Maybe make sure that you're liking, that you're subscribing, and that you're sharing things. Let turn other people on to Black Tea News. Let's grow this thing together. I appreciate you guys being here with me, being a part of the conversation. Again, I didn't necessarily. I was at a funeral earlier today. I got an event to get to, so that's why I'm going to cut it short today. But I could not go on the day not talking about this thing. I had to talk about it. I had to talk about Don Lemon. It was like itching in my soul. I had to do it. So God bless you guys. And as always, don't watch CNN. I'll see you next time.